Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Balaton Park here in Hungary, round 8 of MotoGP. And I have to say, if you haven't watched qualifying, you should. What a duel we have just been treated to between the reigning world champion, the number 93, Marc Marquez, and the man that will be in that opposite office next year. It won't be a 63 there, it will be number 37. The future teammates, the present and the future of MotoGP have gone toe-to-toe, and the 13-lap sprint coming up is, for me, the Tissot sprint I have been most excited for ever since the sprint was introduced, because we're going to see Marc Marquez and Pedro Acosta, like they have done on many occasions before, go toe-to-toe. No quarter given. Marc Marquez, due to his injury limitations, knows full well that he probably doesn't have it within him to be able to compete with Pedro tomorrow, who will go into the Hungarian Grand Prix as the red-hot favourite. And of course, the story tomorrow will be, can Pedro Acosta finally do it and become a MotoGP winner for the first time? But today, over 13 laps, there is more at play than just 12 points. There is ego at play. There is macho-ness, if that's a word, at play, because Marc Marquez does not want to let Pedro Acosta win later today and get the upper hand on him ahead of them becoming teammates next year. And Pedro Acosta does not want to let his future teammate, the wounded Marc Marquez, get the better of him today. We've seen it throughout the year. Those two are fighting fair and square on track, but they are leaving everything out there. And I am pretty excited for what's to come, because it is going to be a spicy encounter. Fireworks are guaranteed as those two go toe-to-toe for the 12 points in the Hungarian Grand Prix Tissot sprint later today, 3 o'clock local time. You don't want to miss it. I cannot wait to see what is going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. I just know that something will happen. So you see, Pecco Bagnaia coming out of his office, changed out of his levers. Job done in a sense for Pecco. He's managed to turn it around from Q1 with the addition of that new rear aero. He will have to fire away from the second row of the grid. 5th for him in the end, but having got through Q1 to be there inside the second row of the grid, the middle of that second row, he's got to be happy with that. Let's just run down the grid, shall we? Marc Marquez, as we said, on pole position with a new lap record ahead of Pedro Acosta. Fermin Aldeguer in third, that second row of the grid. Fabio Di Gianantonio, Pecco Bagnaia, and the World Championship leader, Marco Bezzecchi, with the third row, Raul Fernandez, Jorge Martin, the man second in the World Championship, and Luca Marini. So plenty of stories to pick out from. Of course, the main one is going to be 93 versus 37 later on this afternoon. Brilliant job by Fermin Aldeguer. The addition of Ducati's GP26. In fact, let's go down to Gresini. Fermin has been given an upgrade, given an update from Ducati, the full factory, latest spec chassis, which he feels has allowed him to take a big step forward. We saw a real improvement in pace in Mugello. Then again here this weekend, he said in Parc Ferme then, his best weekend so far. And I think it is as well. He's got obviously from the front row of the grid, he's got a real chance of competing as Fermin Aldeguer. Second row of the grid, an interesting one. We're going to see some fascinating duels, potentially for the final podium places between Fabio Di Gianantonio, who took 4th, interestingly, 4 Ducatis inside the top 5. No Aprilias inside the top 5. A bit of a change from what we saw in Mugello, where, of course, this time last week, they'd locked out the front row. So Digio 4th, Pecco 5th, with Marco Bezzecchi, the championship leader, salvaging it in the end. With his final lap, was able to jump ahead and finish off qualifying as the fastest Aprilia, but only outside of the second row for him. Feels as though it's going to be a weekend of damage limitation. I keep jumping back and forth as to whether Marc Marquez is still in this World Championship fight. He says no. Some slightly more intelligent people than me within the media say that he's still in the mix. This could be a big weekend to really helping him towards staying in the mix in this World Championship. As I say, a very pleased Davide Tardozzi just leaving the garage. Managed to chat with him at the conclusion of that session. And unsurprisingly, Davide, as he so often is, pretty pumped up with that result. We'll leave him to it now, deep in conversation with some of the Ducati engineers. But Bez, yeah, job done for him, you feel. Outside of the second row, it doesn't look like he's going to be someone that can challenge for victory, certainly in the sprint, but we know how much of a step the Aprilias are able to take on a Sunday, so let's see whether the Aprilias are able to do that again, but they're going to need to with Bezzecchi 6th, Fernandez 7th, Martin 8th. We know how much of a challenge is to overtake around this place, so they're going to have to start well, they're going to have to muscle themselves into position pretty early, and then let's see what they're able to do from there. Ralph Fernandez, as we mentioned, front of the third row, good job from him, and we should give a shout out to Luca Marini as well. Hello, how are you? All good? Okay. Oh, he's gone shy now, he's gone shy. He was a friend of the camera at first, and now he wants to run away. So, yeah, Fernandez, 7th, as I said. And Marini, that's the person I wanted to talk about. Only in Q2 for the second time this season, the last coming in Austin a good couple of months ago now, and to put himself up onto the third row of the grid, really, really good job by Luca Marini. Had his best weekend around this Balaton Park circuit 12 months ago, and it looks as though he's pretty well suited to it once again in the end, managing to finish up as top Honda on the grid ahead of Diogo Moreira, who in the end had to settle for 11th with Jack Miller 12th. Ayagura again having his difficulties when it comes to qualifying that Superfile Trackhouse MotoGP machine. 4th row for him, but can he pull off yet another Sunday salvage job, which is becoming just a part of Ayagura's weekend rundown now, isn't it? He struggles on a Friday, struggles to put a lap time together in qualifying, shows a little bit of pace, a little bit of rhythm in the sprints, and then it all comes together in the race on Sunday, and suddenly with 5 laps to go, we're all asking the question, where on earth did Ayagura come from? Let's see if he can do the same thing again. Diogo Moreira, once again, good job from him, did all of his work yesterday by getting in to Q2 automatically for consecutive weekends. I'm sure he will feel that maybe there was a little bit more to offer out there, so middle of the 4th row for him, potentially not going to come with too many smiles. And Jack Miller, I think we all expected him to struggle in Q2 given the struggles that Yamaha are facing, but again, someone that was able to dig deep yesterday, and we say it so often, practice getting inside that top 10 can make or break your weekend. And for Jack Miller, starting on the 4th row of the grid compared to probably being outside of the Q1 top 2, and suddenly he's down on row 5 and 6, and things are a lot more complicated. He's got half a chance of surviving, as the Yamahas have had to do of late, from 12th on the grid. But back to the story at the top, and as I said, I think we are in for a real treat later on this afternoon. Marc Marquez versus Pedro Acosta. A lot of you will be thinking, you're getting a little bit carried away, Jack, but I will be proven right. Just you wait and see, because we had it first at the opening sprint of the year in Thailand. We had it last weekend in Mugello during Sunday's Italian Grand Prix. When those two come together, sparks fly. There is not an inch given, a quarter given when they battle, and that's because they know what's to come next year. It's not confirmed yet, but they will be Ducati teammates, factory Ducati teammates next year. Pedro Acosta, all his career, ever since he made the jump and made that historic splash in Moto3, has been called the new Marc Marquez, and that doesn't sit right with him. He doesn't want to be the new Marc Marquez. He wants to be Pedro Acosta. So there is ego that will be front and centre, the pair of them knowing what a defeat against the other will do in terms of giving them the power, giving them the broad shoulders when they walk into that factory Ducati garage for the first time as teammates next year. It is a duel that we've been crying out for ever since the season got underway, to see it repeated after that first race of the year. Let's hope that we don't have a sprint that is concluded in similar circumstances, and the pair of them can have it settled on track, but you do get the sense that there's going to be elbows, shoulders, and definitely fairings rubbed together between the pair of them. This is a circuit where it's difficult to overtake. You have to be aggressive, and the pair of them are aggressive, will be aggressive to try and make sure that they get the job done. If you've not bothered tuning in for a sprint this year, firstly, why? We've been treated to some absolute crackers. But this, the best time of any, to make sure that you are front and centre, sat down, ready to spectate on your television, or even if you're in the area, you've got time. What are we now? 10 past 12? I reckon if you live in Budapest, for example, only an hour away, hop in your car, drive down, get yourself here. I think there are some tickets available, potentially. I'm not sure. Double check that first. I know it's sold out for tomorrow, but maybe you might be able to sneak your way in later on this afternoon. But one thing that you do want to do is make sure that you are in a position where you can view the sprint. It's going to be 13 laps of real interest. So let's see. Don't want to make any predictions. When it comes to pace, when it comes to form, so far this weekend, I would be leaning in favour of Pedro Acosta. Just because Marc Marquez has told us time and time again this weekend, as he did throughout the weekend in Mugello as well, that he can do it over one lap. And we've seen that on the lap times this weekend. When he goes all in, bang, the lap time comes and he's as quick as anyone. The problem is, can he do it for 13 consecutive lap times? For example, Marc is able to get the whole shot from pole position. Can he withstand the pressure of Pedro likely being right there, trying to force him into a mistake? Does he have the strength in the body? Can he withstand 13 laps worth of pressure? I would say that is going to be quite a challenge. And the same goes, maybe, Marc, we might see play it the other way around. And instead of being the leader, instead of being the man doing all of the running, he might just settle into a rhythm behind Pedro Acosta. It's going to be so tactical. If he sits in behind him, maybe he can conserve some energy, allow the race to come to him and wait for that explosion of power, which he knows he hasn't got too much to use, and try and put it together on the final lap when it matters most. As we see Marc waiting to take a photo, here we go. This gentleman here is going to step in and meet these sponsors, good friends, I'm not sure who it is, but guests of MM93 anyway. Lucky them as they come together for a photo with the man on pole position, a good chit chat between them all. And then once he's done, I think we're going to struggle to get a chat with him. And then he's going to head into his office behind and make sure that he rests, recovers, recuperates and gets ready for the sprint later today. He's saying he's a big smile, and for good reason as well. It's going to be, a fascinating duel later today. Because as we said, you feel as though Marc knows that his chance at getting a victory this weekend will come in the shorter sprint today. It will come at 3 o'clock local time, and as a result, maybe we'll see him use up all of that energy. He told us in Parc Fermé he's been in eco mode yesterday to try and conserve just a little bit. So let's see what he's able to do as our young fan is able to get a quick photo with the reigning world champion. A big smile from him. High five from the man who is one of the more prominent Spanish journalists, Mela Cherquilez. He gets a good quote from Marc there, which I'm sure you'll be able to read in as.com in a few moments' time. So there we go. A glance at the number 93, the world champion, ahead of what is going to be one of the most hotly anticipated duels that we've had in MotoGP for a very long time. 3 o'clock local time for the Tissot Sprint. Make sure you do join us. As we've said, there are fireworks guaranteed.